But yet I'm 2-1 with the Redskins. Go figure that one out.
Right. And then you're
In an,
one and
in,
two with
in
the
an
Madden meta.
in an all Madden league at
Yeah.
that.
Let's make sure sound's working.
Yet I'm 2-1 with the
Okay, we're good. We got sound. Sweet. Someone will be joining here in a moment, but hey, 4th and 1 peeps. Sorry, this is a week delayed. So, you watching
What's a
college
week and a
today?
10-month
Right.
cycle?
I was gonna do it last week, but then at like 12:30 or whatever, I'm about to set up, and I get a text. She's like, "Hey, I'm on my way home from work early. There's this really cool plant that someone's giving away for free. Let's go get a free plant." So I guess that's what I did with my Saturday. Didn't watch college. I haven't been able to watch college football this year yet. Big Ten's out, Gophers are out. I haven't been interested. I don't want to
Yeah,
watch
same.
Clemson drop 70.
I feel completely disconnected with the college football season. I tuned in to watch Notre Dame play Duke in a stadium that's a tenth full. Watching Ian Book do his one read and scramble into sacks, routine for the millionth time, and I'm like, it just does not feel like college football. I've turned the
No.
game off. I'm like, I can't watch this. So I don't know. I have no idea who's even playing today. Someone asked me what I think of Miami Hurricanes. I'm like, the who?
I saw what is it? Martell, he withdrawed or whatever. He
So
opted out.
he's on school number 6 now for him.
Yeah, he got suspended and then decided to opt out. I know Big Ten they're playing, so maybe come October whenever they resume, I'll start tuning in. And I saw the Gophers, our best player. He said he wants to play, but when you hire an agent and declare for the draft, are they even going to give you an appeal? No. We know the NCAA. They're not going to allow that.
Yeah, Notre Dame plays USF today. Zzz, I'm not watching that. I mean, the
No.
slate of games today is just awful. You have App State, Cincinnati, Louisiana, Georgia State,
You.
BC, Duke, Syracuse, Pitt, Oklahoma State, Tulsa, UCF, Georgia Tech. It's just terrible. App State, Marshall, Clemson, the Citadel.
Oh, ooh, they get the Citadel. Sweet. They're done getting
Like,
killed by Bama.
have you seen Clemson's schedule?
Oh,
If
I've
if
seen
they
parts of it.
if they
It's
don't win every game 70-3, they should be kicked out of the NCAA.
Oh yeah, no, we got Joe from USFL said most of the good ones got postponed and canceled. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
USC Bama, that's canceled. Or what was it? Wisconsin LSU, they were playing or something like that. They're canceled. It's just yeah, they got rid of most non-conference except the Southern schools kept their cupcakes to boost those teams' programs.
Yeah,
Like,
this is Clemson's schedule. They play the Citadel today. They play Virginia, Miami, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, BC,
oh
Notre Dame,
Jesus.
FSU, Pitt, and Vatech.
Notre Dame's their one tough game. If that's the only game that they shouldn't score 60 plus in.
Yeah, they might only score 40 that game.
Uh, and I had
Notre Dame's
it's
schedule is even worse.
oh yeah, because they can't play Stanford, they
Right.
can't play
They
all
can't play
their yeah.
USC. There's no Michigan State on the schedule.
Jeez.
So they have South Florida today. They have Wake Forest, Florida State, Louisville, Pitt, G Tech, Clemson, BC, UNC, Syracuse.
My goodness.
So if there's more than one L on that schedule, Brian Kelly should get fired.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too is like normally college football is pretty rough during the non-conference like months. You got Bama against Citadel or what's the other one that they always kick the shit out of every single year? Um,
They usually play like UAB or somebody like
Mercer.
that.
Yeah, Mercer or something. And then you got your LSU's, your Ohio States, Clemson's, they just beat up on all these D1 2A or
It,
Group of
it,
Five terrible schools, and then you get one good game a week.
yeah, you might get like Ohio State, Texas the first couple weeks of the season
Like we were gonna have
at
what, like
best.
Washington and Auburn? That would have been a decent game, but obviously we lose those ones. And then Big Ten, they screwed up rivalry week, so you don't have Ohio State, Michigan the last week anymore. I don't think. Minnesota, Wisconsin's in the middle of October now. You got Penn State and Michigan State or whoever the hell they played the last week of the season. They're not playing anyone decent. So you kill all of that. So when the Big Ten plays again, maybe, because I heard like you're gonna have like Michigan, Minnesota opening the year. You're gonna have Ohio State, Michigan State opening. So that'll be decent. At least the Big Ten has a few conference games. So does the SEC. But go figure. They give Bama, Florida, Georgia the cupcakes added on. Then Tennessee gets stuck adding like Bama and Florida. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's not good. It's weird. It's really weird.
And I'm the fan part doesn't even know, at least for the NFL broadcast. I haven't really even noticed the fans not being there. Just because at least the NFL games, you're getting good games. It's not like they canceled the Bucks Saints and then,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
you
the
know,
NFL. People will watch the NFL if it's played in a parking lot.
right. But college, it's not the same. You need a crowd there. That's half of college football for me.
Yep, I agree.
So we were talking before this, kind of in our chat, about the non-existent defense and pass rush, and a thing that I've played with. I put the slider at 1 for pass block. I then went and put the slider at 99 because when you go 0 and 100, sliders just don't work.
Yeah, they don't
Madden
compute
can't
those
comprehend
numbers.
it. I've put it at 1 and 99, and I've ran 50 plays in a row. I just had my stopwatch on my phone, just timed it. I think the average on 1 was like you had 3.3, 3.2 seconds on average. On 99, it was like 4, if that. So when you have that wide of a range and it does nothing, I, I don't know, man. This is going to be a Madden that you've mentioned to me before. If you don't score 40 points a game, you're not winning. You just
No, you're
can't.
not. And even then, you might win by one possession.
And I think I'm going to look in here because I have the fourth league pulled up here. If we go to team stats, I'm going to see how many teams do you think average over. We'll go. The average NFL points per game is like
It's like
24.
20. Yeah, it's like 23, 24.
How many do you think are averaging over 24 right now?
Um, it, in our league,
Yeah,
um, I would say it's got to be at least 25.
it is exactly 25. It is 25. We have the top user averages 45 points per game. That's
How
Schley
are the
with his
Pats
Pats.
averaging 45 a game?
Well, he dropped 40 some on the Dolphins and Cody
Oh yeah,
week one.
the Dolphins are just hopeless.
But you got the Raiders. Nick, he's averaging 43 a game
Okay, I can
with
see
the
that.
Raiders.
I have no idea how
Steelers.
the hell Pixie's averaging 38 a game.
Well, okay, so he and the Giants got into like a 47-45 shootout
Yep, that
for
sounds like a Madden
whatever
21
reason.
game. Well, yeah, I
And
mean that's the perfect example. If you can't play defense with the if you're using the Bears
yeah,
and you're giving up 40 to the Giants, and the Bears are actually one of the better defensive teams in the game.
right. I mean, the Bears have allowed let me do some math, like the fifth or sixth most points. They've played 3 games and they've already allowed 100 points. You
I
got the
mean,
Giants defense. They're
I
allowed
had a
almost
500-yard
140.
passing game and lost.
Yeah. And if you want to go and just look at the like yards in general on offense, they're absolutely ridiculous. You have a user, the Bengals robbing them. It is Pixie though. We agree. We understand Pixie himself isn't going to sit here and, hold users to 0 points, but you look at last Madden, if you had the Bears or who was another really good defensive team, the 49ers, the Texans, by default, you're still going to, for the most part, keep users under 30 just because of the abilities,
Right.
or
Yeah,
me with New England.
because J.J. Watt would have 3 sacks in the first quarter.
Right. And then he'd get his X Factor ability and you'd just get
Yeah,
absolutely mauled.
and you get destroyed. That's better than this.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you gave me last year's defensive X factors and kept everything else the same in the game
Yeah.
right now,
Right.
it would be a lot more tolerable because at least you'd be afraid of something.
Well, and I told you that in your stream last night against Bayou and the Lions, that if you kept every single ability the way they are now, except you took Madden 20's defensive line abilities and imported them to this one, I think we'd have a pretty damn good game. Because right now, pass rush is literally non-existent. You aren't getting a pass. Our sliders, for those who are just watching, because you saw Kia's name on here, we banned user D-line play because we dropped pass block down to 15. We dropped roughing the passer down to 15 and bumped up offsides to like 75. Because, of course, according to Madden, if you move those other sliders around, it makes the D-line quote-unquote more aggressive. Great work on that one. You have to adjust penalty sliders to get defenders to play better. But it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The first week, the numbers were, I think there were 40 sacks, week one of our league. In the NFL week one, there was 75, 78, I think. And then week two, when we adjusted our sliders and banned D-line play, that number went up to like 58 or 60, so it's slightly better. But I don't see
It
pressures.
still ain't good.
No, your sacks are
not
coverage sacks.
right. I mean, well, yeah, assuming that your coverage holds up, which honestly, I mean, it's not great. I don't love it. But the more glaring issue, it's more glaring because of the fact that you can't get any pressure. You can't blitz. Blitzers don't get home.
Nope.
The line is psychic. You don't have to ID anybody you don't have to ID a mic. You don't have to slide protect. They pick up everything with ESP, and your base rush isn't getting home.
No.
So when you have in a game where you can see the entire field, and you have 4.5, 5 seconds to throw, the game's coverage is not going to hold. It just isn't. It's just the way it is.
Oh, no, absolutely. There's zero chance it's going to happen. And I don't remember who I mentioned this with, but they brought up, what was it they brought up? It was the pass rush in this game, in the blitzes in general. Well, yeah, the blitzes in general, they hurt you. They hurt you more than ever because you get all of your usual coverage bugs, and there's zero difference between a 4-man rush and a 7-man rush.
No, none.
Against the Saints week one, I don't care how Wonka, he's not a football knowledgeable user to be nice. I'm not going to try and rip on him more than I do in the league already, but he has Cam Jordan. If he just does a standard 4-man rush, does whatever he wants in the secondary, I should get sacked maybe once or twice a game, unless I'm keeping 7 in. Gronk was flexed out, running
or get
wide.
Pressured, 2 or 3 times a game.
You don't even get pressure.
A good defensive lineman is going to average, 3 to 4 pressures a game. The elite guys,
right?
A solid one will average a couple. I mean, what's a typical pressure number for a guy like Khalil Mack for a season? Like 50?
50 to 60.
Yeah, 50 to 60 for an elite guy.
In Madden, you're gonna get if they tracked pressures, I'd be shocked if someone got 20. 20'd be a great year. Put them in the Hall of Fame if they can get more than 20 in Madden.
Yeah, give them edge threat elite for 20 pressures.
And that's, we talked about our games, being in the division all the years we have. With once Winovich got his edge threat, I would run those 4-man lines. It'd get picked up, whatever. I'd run just my nickel or my dollar against you, 3-man rush. He'd just warp out of a triple team, just solo one-on-one your guard or your tackle, insta-shed it, and go through. Now it's just one-on-one, and he's just stonewalled. And it
Right.
doesn't matter your lineman. You can have
Go pull
the
up Chandler
Bengals.
Jones. Go pull up Chandler Jones' stats for me, please.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
No, pull up his ratings first, then pull up his stats,
Yeah.
and then
All right.
pull up the tackles he's gone up against the past 2 weeks.
So we got Chandler Jones. Whoops. He currently has, we'll look at his ratings and then I'll tell you his stats. So Chandler Jones is a 92 overall, and we use custom roster for anyone who doesn't know. He has a 91 power, a 90 finesse, so he's met and exceeded both of the thresholds you need to get those weird super win animations.
He lost
97
his
pursuit.
though, damn you.
He did somehow. And his abilities are Fearmonger, Reach Elite, Strip Specialist. And his stats are 9 tackles, 1 for loss, 1 sack. And as you said, that sack was in a sim.
That was a sim stat. So he has no sacks in any user games and no pressures.
And do you, for the most part, do you keep him on the left or do you rotate him?
No, I keep him on. Well, again, me being a complete masochist, I insist on trying a 3-4 out every first season, and I'm pissed off after 8 quarters of it. But yeah, he's when he's not standing up and dropping into a damn hook zone, he's on the right hand side.
Okay, he's going to be on defensive right or offensive right?
He's going to be on the offensive right.
Okay, so he's going to be going up against the right tackle. So week 1, he got no stats. He went up against Mike McGlinchey, who's in our league an 81 overall, which is a top
he's a
9.
Solid, solid, caliber right tackle.
But he doesn't have a single pass block stat above 79.
Right, he's a run blocker.
Right. So 0 sacks or pressures against Mike McGlinchey, I'm not buying that. I'd say at least 1 for sure. Week 2, but you simmed, so whatever. You got 1 in a sim. At least Madden gets some things right in a sim. Week 2, you played Waffles. So you played the Washington football team. And he has Morgan Moses, 75 overall, which ranks him
Probably around the middle of the league.
the 15th ranked right tackle. So, yep, dead even.
Right smack dab in the middle.
And his pass blocks, he's got a 79 pass, 80 finesse, 78 power, so slightly better, but still nothing to write home about.
We're plus 10 pass rush move ratings to block ratings. We're over plus 10.
Right. And now this is going to get you mad. The Lions right tackle.
You know I know it.
It's
I never
Hal
asked a question I don't know
Vaitai.
the answer to.
Hal Vaitai, who is the 26th ranked right tackle with a 71 pass block, 73 power, 65 finesse. And Chandler Jones was eliminated by him. And I'll tell you this, I traded Shaq Barrett for a first-round pick. I played 2 games. I played 2 games of Madden after the game dropped and everything, and I finished the roster. Second I played those 2 games, I messaged anyone who said they needed an edge rush. I was just like, what do you want for him? Give me something, please. And I got a 1.
I see how you're working. You're trying to dupe the unsuspected.
and I can tell you this, too. The second we get to the end of the season and Clint's talked about his patches and all that, and we still aren't getting pass rush, I'm trading my 2 stud interior linemen. There's 0 reason to have linemen in this game.
No,
you can
none.
have you're the Cardinals. Their line's not good at all, and that's even you look at against the Niners. Kyler Murray was under quite a bit of pressure and duress that game, but he's so athletic and elite at escaping the pocket and everything. But in Madden, you get Tom Brady with protected protection last year. I can't imagine what protected would do in this game. Right. The norm is what I had last year. The entire cycle, or 2 years with Brady, whatever. So I don't know. I'm gonna trade those 2 interior linemen if end of year comes and Clint's still just not gonna, do much at all. But
Yeah. Joe in the comment section says the pass rush abilities are there. You just need to use them. El Toro goes nuts. Yeah, it
yeah,
does.
it
And
does.
I saw this coming when they were really advertising the pass rush moves.
Yeah,
You knew for a fact that those things were going to be nuts, and they are. But they made the game where they're forced. When they introduce stuff like that, they try to design the game to force you into using them. You know what I mean? So now you have a game where we have the pass rush abilities are now basically user inputted. If you user a El Toro guy or a guy that has rip move or spin move, you get last year's Edge Threat Elite. That mean they come in a flash, and you have to.
right.
That's the only time you have to double team anybody,
Yeah, right. Exactly.
and that's what saves your ass in coverage. If you commit to using it 100% of the time, which
Yeah.
I don't think is very feasible.
No,
But
with the way coverage is, you can't just
yeah,
sit and
you
user
can't.
the D line.
If you're blessed enough to get into 3rd and 20, maybe. But as of right now, it's just my biggest concern with the beta outside of the coverage and the pass rush being a little bit light is that in general the defense and the offense are playing at two different speeds.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The defense is always a step slow in pursuit. I saw a play in my game last night where Buda Baker in his quarters run fit, he just stood there. He didn't move at all until a lineman got to the second level and blocked him. And then of course it's a touchdown. No one's pursuing. The force defenders that we were told were improved aren't there.
No, no, not at all.
They're not there. You can still get wide of the pocket if you're hell bent in doing it. And on top of all that, you have defenders not doing a great job of breaking on stuff. Meanwhile, the offense is running free as a bird. I mean,
Right.
I'm thankful for the fact that my receivers are able to get in and out of their routes. That's great, and I'm able to catch stuff on the move and get on going. Um, but there's two sides of the football. I think the game should favor the offensive side of the ball, but you have to respect the you have to respect the logic. There should be a logical counter to what's happening.
Right.
The defensive structure can't be compromised by bugs and the fact that you want to steer users towards playing the game the way you want them to play it. I don't want to go into my defensive line and just smash through with the right stick every down.
And do the same three motions and swap your guy left to right
Right.
to reset the offensive lineman's knowledge bar.
That's dumb.
And I
Please.
think when they came out with user, like they dropped that the what do they call it, gridiron notes in that stream, and Clint mentioned the user movement wasn't changed. You made that video where you mentioned mugging Kittle down the seam that you did all Madden versus me, and I think the next thing that came out of your mouth was, I enjoy the fact that they are adjusting and making the way user lurk is realistic and not as overpowered, but at the same time, if you're Devin White and you're running in a straight line speed, you feel like Julian Edelman, not
Right.
Devin White.
They're not
And
they're not playing up to their speed rating on defense.
and I don't know why they can't figure this out, because what they have now is, if you're trying to plant and cut across field and sprint, you're not getting there, which is real. It's not going
Right.
to happen. But on offense, you can kind of move and kind of slightly turn left and right and go without much of a loss of speed, which is fairly realistic. But on defense, if you're standing still and a guy is 10 yards in front of you running a go, and you hold your safety there just for a moment, say you're playing quarters or man, and you got a match with him, you need to be running the second he's running. You
Right.
can't wait, which it's not, I don't know, it's just I don't know why they feel that they have to tune speed differently for O and D. I still don't understand it.
Yeah, we went from years, basically an entire cycle of the defenders being able to move laterally and backwards faster than the offense to now, okay, you corrected the lateral movement a little bit better. You can still make some plays with guys that have really good change of direction, ratings, or if you have a guy with the lurker ability. That's why when you see that's why online everyone puts safeties on the field because they have
Yeah.
those high change of direction ratings.
Zach last year.
But if you're not going to allow me to move laterally at full speed and backwards at full speed, which is fine, I have to be able to at least move forward.
Right. Oh, you can't come downhill in this Madden. It takes you.
No.
You're like a
And in, a,
95 Corolla trying to accelerate.
and in a game where you have to play defense back to front, which is sound. That's fine. That's how you're supposed to play defense. As opposed to Madden forever, you play defense how? From front to back. You cut the drag and then peel off. Now you have to do the opposite, which is fine. But I have to be able to get there when I see it coming.
Are you watching the stream like yourself right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to show you this one thing with user linebacker movement and get this in here quick. Because it's something that I've slightly found while doing practices, and I want to see your thoughts. I don't care what playbooks are being used. First off, these training drills you do are the most annoying things on planet Earth. I think I spend every week 20 minutes trying to get a badge on defense because they are just so poorly done. On cover 3, you're supposed to do, when you're doing a defensive drill, you're supposed to go against stuff that, to me, it should be an easy gold medal every time you do it because you should be playing things that cover 3 stops.
Yeah,
You
instead
know,
of just random
but I'm getting
plays.
verts and curl flats thrown on me the entire time, and I just don't understand what to do. It's ridiculous. But okay, so
You know what you do? You use the defensive line,
Yep.
smash the quarterback.
Or what I've been doing is this. I've been taking an edge rusher, and I just run around in the middle of the field like an idiot, and just try and smash Gronk or Mike Evans, whoever the hell they throw to. Just chuck it to somebody. So what I've seen on usering D-line, or defense in general, you don't hold sprint, you don't strafe, and you still, for whatever reason, I'm going to use Terrell Suggs. So just whenever they decide to snap the ball, that'd be nice. And I just, without even running, I lost no momentum, no nothing, and I was able to run stride for stride with Mike Evans. So
What, just by
yeah, just using the left stick. No strafe, no sprint. You should see that with Suggs here, who's not good at all. So I'm not sure why that is, but it's something I've noticed and something I'm avoiding doing because it looks slightly broken.
That's weird.
Yeah. And it's something I feel you should test out yourself here whenever you have a free minute after this. But I've seen that. I sent to their like EA help forum or whatever. Obviously didn't get anything back from it. But that's what I'm seeing too with the user coverage. Is I'm just able to freelance and I've done it with Indomitian Sue, I've done it with Vitavia. They're pretty much running stride for stride with dudes when you're not doing anything funky or strafing like that.
That is truly bizarre.
Now that doesn't solve pass rush, that doesn't solve
Yeah,
coverage
you're
bugs,
still
but
you're still running with him for 20 seconds, but hey.
You're right. Right. Doesn't matter because the offense is going to have all day to find someone else. So another thing, how's your run and shoot project going? I remember you're running that in your other league.
Yeah,
That's
it's
got to be
fun.
a
I'm actually
hoot.
I'm playing better with the Redskins on freaking all Madden than I am with the Cardinals at the moment. You know, the thing with all Madden is that you just have these games where the game just makes it impossible for you to function without losing your sanity. But you know, the thing with that is that if they're not going to update those playbooks like the run and shoot in the West Coast and and those type of playbooks that have been in the game for several years now, take them out of the game.
Yeah.
Because the spread playbook got updated last year to match what they were putting in, new stuff wise. Um, that's still by far the best playbook out of the generic ones, I think.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
absolutely. Um, but in general, if you're not going to update all of them, just take the ones that you're not going to update out because they lag far too far behind.
Absolutely. And they just take up space because that's what we hear
Yeah,
every year. Why they can't give us new plays is they're so full and clogged up. Just cut them.
I find what's happening out of the run and shoot playbook is I'm running the same like four concepts over and over again because the rest of the playbook is out of date. And the Cardinals playbook is similar to that as well, only because of the fact that it only has like five concepts in it, and they're all in every play. So you're running H shallow cross 16 different ways, which is fine, but they don't have any. They don't have any constraints off of those base concepts. You know what I mean?
No, they don't. Nope.
Right. Like you don't have follow, for example. You don't have you have mesh post, but you have like two mesh posts in the entire playbook, for example. You don't have smash with the backside post route.
Right.
Creative stuff like that you don't have. You just have the vanilla stuff over and over and over again. So I'm like, okay, I'm calling H shallow cross again. Oh, I'll call Z shallow cross again. I'll call
And this is the
smash again.
cards book you're talking, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's got some swanky RPOs and good and nice stuff, and they've cleaned up some spacing on some stuff, but it's still kind of bland.
Well, and I think I sent you this about my air raid because I'm running like a custom air raid. That way I don't sit here and get like some stuff that I hate. But in terms of Madden air raid, you got like five concepts total to
Yeah,
use. You got stick, you got bland mirrored smash, you got verts, Y cross, and 30,000 shallow crosses and mesh. And I sit there and I'm just yawning, calling the same
and you
four
have maybe
plays.
one usable Y corner in the entire
Yeah,
playbook editor.
yeah, oh yeah. And that's what is it out of like gun tray open, and that's it or whatever it is that you get
Yeah,
the one
I know which one you're
usable.
talking about. It's got that little spot route, but a slot receiver.
And then whenever I try and run Y sail or just in general, whatever tight end I'm using always just gets bumped by somebody, by the D line or whatever, because tight ends can't try and get a nice release off the line when they're attached for corner routes worth of crap. It's just absolutely horrible.
Yeah, it still takes them too long. You can at least throw it though, because the corner doesn't just peel off and pick it off.
Yeah, no, or you don't have Stephon Gilmore who can jump three
Yeah,
defenders over to one hand 360 it.
and in Madden 21, you have time for that tight end to just collide into the defender and get down there. You have all the time in the world.
And I think this Madden, like, if you run, because we run pretty much like adapted I've adopted your defensive philosophy. I was always a single high guy. I'm playing either cover, and you've seen it throughout the years. I'm normally cover one, cover three, and that's about it. Sprinkle in some stuff here and there. But I mirror you. I'm giving you cover six, cover nine, three match buzz, quarters palms, and then sprinkle in some cover three cloud, two sink, robber, cover two man, just some more stuff here and there. And I can tell you, this Madden I found out more. If you don't have a clue how to isolate people against pattern match coverages, those are the guys who are scoring 10 points in a game. Like, you look at my week 1 game against Wonka, who would do, as you've said in your videos hundreds of times, you're just sending 3 crossing routes going the same way. You're
you're
getting
just digging your
nowhere.
own grave.
And that's what he's doing. And those guys try and do because they rely on just regular cover three, where you can just send a dig, a go, a drag, and then a post and hit the post every single time. Against quarters, you're just running right into 3 defenders sitting there. So,
Right.
and it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I've watched those videos every year, and I've finally stuck to it, and it's fun but frustrating.
And they're getting better at it.
Right.
But and again, that just makes it more frustrating because that's gradually getting better, but everything else just stays the same. Like the spot drop coverages still suck.
Oh gosh.
They added the custom coverage drops, which is basically a concession to the fact that they suck. You know, which all it does is just hides the fact that the zone drops aren't dropping properly to begin
No.
with.
Well, I haven't messed around with those. I assume you have, right?
Yeah, and I do. What I don't like about them is that it cancels out um, the match coverages, and there's also
Right.
certain adjustments that it cancels out as well. Like if you use them, you can't hard flat anymore.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, say I'm doing cover two hard flat, and I set my corners on the outside to drop to 10. They're not playing hard flat. They're dropping to 10 no matter what, correct?
Right. Yep.
Okay. That's what my biggest issue and worry with them was. I wish that would set the depth to how far they drop.
And what I wish I could do was, if I wanted to do that, so I can have my cover three spot drops play closer to the um, proper depth that they play.
Yeah.
I wish I could just reset the play to cancel them out without the alignment going borky.
Right.
Because if you do use the coaching adjustments and you want to say audible to a match coverage, you can't do that. It'll still keep them. What you have to do is you have to come out in the match coverage and then reset the play, and it cancels out the coaching adjustments, but it also shifts your players around for some reason. So it's only good if you're going to just play 100% spot drop coverage and concede the underneath all game long.
Yeah, the absolutely. I think that's what I got from Wonka's. I got cover three, I got cloud, I got Tampa 2, and I think I just threw shallow cross to Mike Evans and Gronk the entire game, and I was just able to nickel and dime up the field for a touchdown every time. A big defense, essentially. Yeah, that's essentially what it is. That's the defense you play when you're up 30 and you just want to kind
Right,
of get a
exactly.
little lazy
It's
and safe.
it's customized protect the sticks. That's basically what
Yeah,
it is.
right. Single highest king, Coach Smith. Yeah, it's king of giving up 60 points to me, it seems like. Or so, what was it, 47 points? And that's the thing, too, is that single high defense, that's something that Legion of Boom just absolutely dominated the NFL for in, what, like a 4-year span. But in here, just because of how Madden is and how coverage is in general, single high defense, especially with its run fits, because that safety rolled down in
Yeah,
the box is absolutely useless.
yeah.
He is worth nothing.
You can't make a living off of it
No.
because of the fact that he's worth nothing in the run fit game, and that center fielder will just watch over routes and posts all day long.
They need to have a Nick hates single high against the run. It's absolutely horrible. If I see single high with an 8-9 man box, I might as well just run stretch and flip the play away from your safety, and it's going to work for 5, 6, 7 yards every time. No questions asked.
Which is the complete antithesis of what the whole point is.
Right.
The whole
Right.
that whole scheme was basically a evolution of The Tampa 2. Everyone caught up to the Tampa 2 and started spraying the field and ripping it apart, which is why you see Tampa 2 as basically just a garbage time defensive call now,
Right.
or a sticks call, or when you're playing a bad quarterback that can't read anything. So so what Pete Carroll did when he had Monty Kiffin as a consultant at USC was basically just invert the coverage shell but keep the same principles.
Yep.
You replace the middle linebacker with a guy who can run 4-3 as a defensive back. You
Yeah.
have the corners play the same technique as far as outside leverage on their deep thirds, and you have a bunch of fast guys underneath who weigh 245 pounds that can run, that can smack guys over the middle, and you have an army of speed rushers.
Right.
That's what makes the whole thing go. But in Madden, you don't have a single high defender, you
No.
don't have the hammer force defender, and you don't have the 4-man rush. So how are you going to run it?
Right. And that's what led me to the style you play. One, you can actually disguise things to a degree, which you cannot in Madden any other way. And two, I just every other coverage besides like quarters coverage, cover six, three, even three match too, because that's still a post safety just staring at the ground. But at least out of quarters and palms, for the most part, especially against 2x2 normal default sets, they actually do something. I'm so sick of watching, whether, say, it's, for example, Wheezy. He did it a couple times against me last year in the AFC Championship game, or Bobby, Rob, whoever, just chuck this post or this seam right at a safety. And I do it too. It's not. I've seen you do it too.
Yeah,
We all do it. it's
It's like the defense is playing a man down, so you might as well.
it's if you see someone, and Pixie was the king of this to me last year. It's why I scored 50 on him almost every game. If it wasn't a cover zero blitz, it was Tampa 2. All I had to do was keep my halfback in so I got an extra second, run a post with one of my receivers, and it's a touchdown or a 50-yard gain every single play. Those
Right.
safeties just they encourage you. They're one of those what are they? I'm not a baseball, but one of those base coaches in little leagues who cheer you on to run home. That's what the safeties are. No, no one fears post safeties at all. At all. No. It's no one I would argue nobody fears safeties in Madden in general unless they're being user controlled. Because even in quarters, they can bork out a bit, especially if you got
Yeah.
trips or stuff. Which is why I
Yep.
just hope
And they
every
love
time I
taking
see
and they
someone
and they
with gun
love taking
spread.
and they love taking hesitation steps as well. They
False
really enjoy
steps.
doing that.
Oh, man. I want to see, like, I want to get Bill Belichick, for example, or Rex Ryan, one of these defensive gurus for a coach to watch a game of Madden, just watch defense only, and just see how long they can last. I think they might get 5 minutes into a game and then just be done.
Yeah.
This-
Until stuff like leverage and just basic recognition by all 11 dudes matters. That's always going to be the case.
and then and that's kind of what was talked about just in general. Vapo, one of our members, asked us in general if he thinks our stricter rule limit on how you have to user coverage, and we don't like to have this meta changing things and our base rules and all that kind of hurts like vanilla defenses. I tell people that try and join our league and they get worried about our rules, and it's like if you sit here and try and run a mutt style defense where you're sitting in the same two coverages, hot routing your middle linebacker and running around with him, defense is still just as broken. But
Yeah, it
most of
doesn't
them,
change
because
anything.
online's on all Madden, isn't it?
Right. No, online is on All Pro.
Oh, it's all pro. Okay, I would say that's why it looks better. Is because of all Madden.
The tournaments are on All Madden.
Oh, okay, that's
Online
what it
modes are
is.
on All Pro.
Okay. But
which is
defense in general is too vanilla. Offense is too. You have just them. I've talked with
yeah. You don't need to be
Nick.
exotic in offense in this game.
No, you don't. You don't run your base
All
three
you need to
things and
do is
go.
just have a drag, a square in, a post, and something threatening the sideline. You're good.
And then you can, since you don't need to worry about pass rush, put your back at an angle or a swing route for a check down in case, for whatever reason, your guy trips in the rain or snow.
But yeah, the foundation of Madden passing plays: crosser, post, drag.
And I've talked with Nick for I don't know how many years. I think he gets the yearly rant of me talking about the way you should call a play in Madden. And I understand, Madden has to be geared towards the not everyone knows football like you, like me, like Nick, like even Zach with his knowledge of football, or Cody. Doesn't matter, any of the guys we mainly play with, most of us know football pretty well. We've coached, we've played, we've studied, whatever. I know 99% of Madden players aren't that way, so they have to dumb it down and gear it down. But I want the day where they have two modes. They have standard mode, and then they have what you want to call it: enhanced, hardcore, realistic, where your play call isn't just picking gun spread, Y flex, H shallow cross. You'll
That
have to
ideally
pick.
should be what all Madden is. That's what all Madden should be built for. Is for
Right.
that purpose.
Absolutely. That's what comp mode should be. Comp mode should be your basic default whatever. You want the way Madden is now. We need a sim mode where you're picking your personnel. If you want 2x2 spread, if you want 2x2 close, tight and attached, where you go through and you're not just picking the name of a formation. You're picking your personnel grouping, how you want your alignment, and then your concept. That way I'm not, because you have what? Gun spread flex doesn't have inside zone, but gun spread Y flex has inside zone. That's ridiculous.
And for the love of God, can they please update their position terminology?
Oh,
Just because I'm running a odd front defense doesn't mean I just because I'm running an odd front defense, I still want my edge rushers going up the field every damn play.
yeah.
Attack the quarterback, set the edge. I don't want my pass rusher dropping into coverage ever. I don't want him playing
No.
seam flat zones. I don't want him playing curl flats. I don't want him playing hooks unless I'm zone blitzing.
Nope.
Allow us the flexibility to be able to line those guys up in the spots that make sense for them to line up, and we can have formation packages that we can customize our defense accordingly. Like, there's no reason where I should be in a 3-4 set and not be able to have my two best edge rushers always either being my edge defenders or my pass rushers, and then let me formation sub guys in the spots where I want them to drop into coverage.
Yeah.
But you can't do
That's
that.
what kills
That's
it.
why.
No.
That's why you're stuck with Khalil Mack. Dropping into zones for half your plays when you're playing a 3-4. It makes
And
no
then
sense.
Lord forbid you're in a franchise and the CPU transitions from a 3-4 to a 4-3, and Khalil Mack's going to be your weak side 4-3 off ball backer dropping into a mid read half the game.
It's just crazy.
No,
Nuts.
and then you look from a franchise aspect, which, not, I swear to God, dog, if you bark, if you get like your typical franchise where you have your awards and you'll have Khalil Mack and Bobby Wagner competing for the same damn award, whether it's XP, whether it's weekly awards, whether it's anything, it just shouldn't happen. It's such a bland terminology. And you'll sit here, and I saw, who was it? The ratings guy, Dustin. Someone was talking about, hey, can you move this guy's position from left to right end? Dustin's like, well, he played right end 43 snaps, he played left end 22 snaps, and he played 3 tech 8 snaps or whatever. It's like, well, no kidding, because he was playing strong side end, and he lined up on the right side 40 times, and then when the
It's the
play
same
was
position.
flipped, it was over there. It's not right or left, it's which way is the offensive strength call. And then
Right.
kicking inside, that's because he's an interior pass rusher on 3rd and 10 plus, which happened
It's
7 times that game.
it's the exact same role. It's like trying to say that a 3-4 defensive end and a 3 technique defensive tackle are two different positions. They're not.
Right, no.
They're both they're identical.
That's why I get Pixie sending me 30,000 DMs a day asking if this 270-pound edge rusher can play interior D-line. No, he cannot. I promise you, he's playing edge. And they have free and strong safety. And when I first started playing Madden, and after coaching football and playing high school football, when I started to learn football a lot, I was like, oh, okay, strong and free makes sense. They have a strong side safety. Nah, strong safety is just your right safety. They could just call it left and right safety and be good as well, because they don't do anything other than flip whose role is which. They
Yeah,
don't move at all.
or field boundary, however you want to do it.
Right. I don't get it at all. I understand that it's tough to change your code like that, but you mean you can't just go to strong and weak side? I think strong and weak would be something everyone can understand. If you don't know what the strong side in football is, why are you playing football? Why are you playing a video game? I think even those mutt guys understand the strength call. Or if they don't, it takes 2 seconds. Which way is the tight end? Is he on the left or the right? Okay, there you go.
Right. Where's the slot receiver?
Right.
Where's there the most grass?
Right.
It's not rocket science.
It's 2 and 2. It's 2 by 2. Okay, there's more grass on the right. There's the strength call. Like it shouldn't be this difficult to just have simple things in the game, but here we are in Madden 2021, and it's the same in terms of positional terminology since, I don't know, probably ever. I've started playing Madden in like 04, 03. It was probably the same then position-wise. I mean, at least now we have sub-package subs, but that still doesn't do much. Right,
Yeah,
they do have
autoflip,
strong and weak built in with autoflip.
autoflip helps, but what it does, the problem with autoflip is that it'll kick your 3 technique to nose tackle
Right.
instead of just flip him to the side he should be playing 3 technique at.
If
So that's
flipped personnel,
it'd be
that would
perfect.
solve it.
That way, I'll always have my 3 technique on the weak or strong side as I want him, as opposed to the 3 technique being on the right side, but it's the wrong player.
Because Kia remembers this when I traded for Snacks Harrison a few years ago in fourth. Whenever autoflip, that was the first year autoflip was introduced. And I'd want him to be my nose shade, my 2-eye whenever he was on the field against Kia. That was when you were still full on run and shoot, the year you won back-to-back with the Jets. And he would always kick out to a 3 or a 4-eye, and it's like, oh, hey, I'm
Right.
glad to know I have this run stopper outside of the frickin'
And
guard.
every time he did, I ran inside zone away from him.
But he'd still shed and make it because insta-sheds are a glorious thing.
Right. That was the last time that you got run defense out of your damn defensive tackles.
Yeah, Smith, they need an ability to have your D aligned to the weak side. That should be one. Give some, like, 99 awareness guy, call it, like, strength call elite. Defense actually lines up according to the offensive strength. That'd be a good one.
Well, speaking of block shedding, there's an annoying ability which if you haven't run into it, it's going to make you pitch a fit.
Oh, boy.
There's a couple, actually. One is inside run stuff.
Is there anyone who even
Where,
has that in this game?
yep, there is. Inside run stuff. Watch as the defensive tackle will just detonate your center over and over and over again
Oh,
in
man.
a flash. No matter who he is.
Oh, Aaron Donald has that. Kenny Clark as well. Man. Is that the Inside Elite or whatever
Yeah, go to
of last year?
inside stuff. There he is.
Now we'll
Kenny
just go
Clark
back.
has it.
Let's go back to Aaron Donald. He has it for sure. Which Aaron Donald,
Right.
compared to real life to in Madden, is like the most useless person on planet Earth.
Aaron Donald should be the best defensive player in the game.
He is. He's the best. He's the only 99 in our roster. I made sure that the next highest person was a 96 overall. I tried to create as big of a gap as I can. Because unless you're Skip Bayless, everyone who knows football universally agrees Aaron Donald is the best football player. Take out quarterback
Who's
value.
not a quarterback.
Right. And even quarterback, he's better at defensive tackle than any of the quarterbacks are at quarterback. Aaron Donald literally chucked Zeke Elliott like 3 yards backwards like a rag doll. And then he absolutely annihilated Zach Martin, who's a Hall of Fame guard.
Dude had
Like,
10 pressures that game.
yeah, it's insane.
10.
And in here, he might have 10 all
Interior
year.
lineman.
Yeah, it's crazy. And he's double and triple teamed every play.
He might not get 10 pressures in 2 seasons in Madden 21.
If you look at the way Dallas protected that, especially in like Mike McCarthy, Jason Garrett's, that West Coast style of protection, running backs almost always protect on the edge. They run to chip the best edge rusher, which
Right.
would normally be DeMarcus Lawrence, or not DeMarcus Lawrence, Ibukam or whoever else. They'd want their interior guys to double or triple. No, that game Zeke was playing right behind Aaron Donald, trying to run up and help out protection almost every single thing. Is that what the rating does? A guaranteed insta-shed for a
Yeah,
one-on-one
it's-
block?
It's
Man.
pretty potent. It does not activate all the time on zone reads because you do get tandem blocks on zone reads from time to time. But
Sure.
on an inside zone and even on outside zone, he will just crash right through.
Jesus.
But you can run base and trap out on those guys though. It's only on inside zone runs.
Right. Which is hilarious too, because I think Aaron Donald's probably the last man on earth you want to play
You
trap
never want to
against
trap.
or ISO block him. But in Madden, you can trap him with some bum guard.
Just anybody.
And then, what was it? It was.
He's so damn fast. He's going to get into the backfield faster than your guard can kick over.
Oh my God! His get off and his first step might be the fastest first step in the history of the NFL. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's a defensive end in a defensive tackle's body.
I think
Not
he's
even
an
a defensive
outside
tackle's body.
linebacker. I think he's a linebacker in a
Well, yeah,
defensive tackle. That guy
yeah.
is so athletic.
That's probably a better comparison.
It's like you got these new linebackers coming in, Devin White, my boy Blake Cashman, Devin Bush. They are cornerbacks that are in a linebacker's body. It's insane how when you watch that Saints-Bucks game, there's a lot of disappointing things in that game. Drew Brees looked terrible. Tom Brady didn't look good at all. Gronk was kept into block because the Bucs O-line was horrible. The only people that jumped off are the defensive players that game. Devin White looked like an all-pro linebacker flying everywhere. Cam Jordan looked like a wrecking ball. And then Marshawn Lattimore looked like Deion Sanders out there. And it's crazy to see these new age linebackers come in and just dominate. They're smaller, but they're so athletic.
Yep.
Blake Martinez, yeah. Let me send that
Blake
screenshot
Martinez.
to franchise guy. Let's see what he says about that.
He has his hatred for Blake Martinez is worse than mine for Chris Conti. That's saying something. He cannot stand that man.
When I went to lunch with TFG the other month, I think it took 10 minutes of talking for him to mention Blake Martinez. We didn't even order our food yet. We didn't even get our drinks, and he already was talking about how Blake Martinez was a horrible player, which he is. I'm not gonna argue that. He's absolutely horrible. Fuck Chris Conti.
Yeah, he's the Chris Conti of linebackers.
Was he on the Jets or Notre Dame or something that made you hate him?
He was on the Bears. I just hated him because he was so bad, but kept on getting jobs.
Oh, and then he went to the Cowboys and then the Chiefs or something where did he end up going to get starting jobs?
He was on the Bears. He was on the Bucks. He's been on a couple of places.
Let's see where he was.
And the dude just is horrible.
He's out of the league now, isn't he? Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was on
Yeah,
the Bears and
I
Bucks.
think he was on the yeah.
Yeah. Who am I saying? Who was the white dude on the Cowboys last year? That safety. That's absolutely horrible. There's another one.
On the Cowboys, I can't think of him.
Yeah, it was the other white dude. Let me see if I can find him in the roster. Someone help me out too in the chat. You guys know who I'm talking about. He's played for the Cowboys like every single year, it seems like. He always starts. Jeff Heath. That's who it is.
Heath. Oh,
Jeff
yeah,
Heath is another guy who just finds his way onto a team. And then, God, what is
Wasn't
he
Chris
even?
Conti on the Redskins too?
Maybe like practice squad, I
I
think.
could have swore he was. But yeah, every year in year out, Chris Conti would somehow start, and he'd just play, and he'd be among the bottom third safety team in the league every single year, but still starting.
Well, that's right, Jeff Heath. He's the Raiders' starting safety this year. He's somehow latched on in Las Vegas with Gruden because Gruden likes his grinders. Knock on wood if you agree. And then when you look at what was it, safeties in general, and how I think personally in the NFL, you talk about how tough and how big of like a gap in O-line talent there is. Looking in the NFL safety, there's a pretty big drop off there too.
Yeah, there's a few really good ones, and then there's some just hot trash that are out there that are basically that basically like today's linebackers would have been strong safeties, 10, 20 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the bad strong safeties would have been box safeties in 2000.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you'd still be able to play them because you can take them off the field on third down.
Right.
But now the league's in 11 personnel every damn snap. Those guys just get ripped apart.
Right, like Landon Collins, he had his 1 year in the Giants and has just been absolutely horrible for the Redskins. Washington football team every single year is absolutely horrible. And then you look at...
And that's a weird one. I think he'd be at least okay, but he's just falling off a cliff. I mean,
he can't cover.
He can't... I mean, he's got to be able to... He's got to have some value. It makes me wonder if he's being misused or he just ran into luck that 1 year.
There are those players that run into
some guys.
luck.
Some guys just have that flash in the pan season, I guess, where every tipped ball comes their way.
Right.
They catch every pick. But yeah, he just has been horrible.
Well, when you look at even like Earl Thomas, like, is he just that big of a head case and no one even wants to give him a chance? Because I see about like 15 teams in the NFL who could use an Earl Thomas right now. But I guess people are just worried about him and his brother having another session or something, I guess.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I mean, you knew Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor were the crazy ones over there. No one ever thought that Earl Thomas was a nutcase, too.
No, and that's... I don't know what changed. Like, the second he left Seattle, or like the year before he left Seattle, he just fell down. It was like Antonio Brown with the Steelers. Like, after he got hit by Burfict, dude hasn't been the same. He's not been the same human since pre that. Oh,
you can't convince me otherwise.
No, you can't. And he wasn't even this bad when he first got paid and became AB or whatever.
No,
the second he got hit, you
wouldn't hear a peep out of him. He would do commercials here and there. I mean, he would do your typical diva wide receiver things, but nothing crazy.
No. And that's the thing with, like, you look at Julio. Julio, you don't hear a word from. Like, you hear words from OBJ every week, D-Hop.
D-Hop's pretty quiet.
He's quiet for the most part, except for the Texans stint. But Julio, I don't think I've ever heard him in a press conference talk ever in my life. I can't even tell you what he sounds like.
Julio complained about his contract for like 1 day 2 years ago.
and the Falcons gave it to him the next day.
And it was over.
Yeah. If you put like OBJ, like if I closed my eyes and you played an OBJ interview, I'd be like, oh, that's Odell Beckham Jr. I'd know his voice. If you did it with anyone else, I'd probably be able to tell you their voice. Julio, no chance. I'm not going to be able to tell you what he sounds like.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, we got Smith asking, what's the best way to use a 4-2-5 defense in Madden? Thinking about base next year for it. Um, yeah, like Joe said, turning off auto flip might
Yeah, and
help.
using over G a lot,
Yeah, over G, absolutely. I mean,
or
you
three three
can,
five odd, something like that.
yeah, 3-3-5 odd. I try. I mean, granted, in our league, for the most part, guys are gonna run 11 personnel anyways. It's rare you get dudes sitting in 12, 21, 22 a ton, but I've found I still personally like just regular nickel normal and 3-3-5 will. That way I can adjust because 3-3-5 will gives me that red zone double buzz, gives me a few different looks, and
And
nickel normal will give me
how
all
is that
that.
play only in two formations in the game?
It's in what is it in? It's
It,
in the dime 2-3-6 and then the
and the 3-3-5 either
will.
Sam or Will,
Yeah,
and
and
that's
it's
it.
in 2-4-5 like normal nickel, the 3-4
And it's
nickel.
one of the best man coverage plays in the entire game.
Yeah, it's in 3 plays. I don't know why it's not in any other of the nickel just 4-2-5 personnel looking stuff. I don't get it. Yeah, nickel 2-4-5. That's the other one. It's 2-4-5 nickel, 3-3-5 will, and then 2-3-6 dime.
And
It's a
that's it.
crime.
Nowhere else to be found.
Nope. And I'll tell you this too, Smith. I really, if you want to run like a light personnel stuff, that 2-3-6 dime, one of the best formations in the game by far. On D, and I sent you this DM in like the chat that you just had for your game this morning, and I was pleasantly surprised because I updated my defense because I took out 4-3 over 4-3 under. Those plays, those are just
They're useless.
garbage. I just have nickel normal, or sorry, 4-3 normal, wide 9, and the 6-1. That's it now. And I saw all these new formations they added. For whatever reason, they have quarters in it. They have 3 match, cover 6, cover 9 in palms. So I was like, why did they have it? Well, I know why, but they have it in all these new formations, but then you got over and under without quarters in it.
Right, which is crazy. And you can't play palms at a 3-4.
No, you can't. You can't at all.
Makes no it makes no sense. None at all.
Speaking of palms, I played palms against
You can play
Wonka.
double Robert, but you can only play it at a 2 sets.
Right.
You can't play it at a dime normal. No, we can't have that.
Well, it's the same way at the bunch formations in shotgun. You can only run inside zone and bunch strong. I swear to God, if you try and run it at bunch or bunch offset, you're going to get fined. You're going to get sued. You cannot even think about running it. Nope. Oh, but then you can run it out of a bunch wide. You can run outside zone out of bunch wide. For whatever reason, they decided that a 5-man spread look, you need outside zone.
Yeah, playbooks are weird as hell.
And I ran palms, and I'm liking palms because you got the guys like Wonka who love to run just like this flat read route or whatever, and then they see that corner start to bail back and then slam down on that flat
That's going to
route.
be a pick.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, they added read option to bunch. Yeah, I know. I saw that. I made Wookie a triple option playbook for his Jags, and I was just like, let me check bunch again, even though I know there's no option. And I saw it, and I was like, well, okay, hey, I'll take it.
Now, my 3-4 playbook, can I add a 4-3 normal so I don't completely lose my mind this season?
You cannot, unfortunately.
Let's see. I'm looking at the 3-4 sets now to see if there's anything that
What about
is
the overhead?
even. The overhead is. I'm actually looking at that now. There's something about that set that kind of ticked me off. I
Probably
can't
no
remember what.
palms or quarters
Let me look
or
at it.
shit.
Overhead. You can play quarters in C6, but you can't play match cover 3 and you can't play cover 9.
No, that's what it is.
And you can't play cover 2 sync, which is the only cover 2 that isn't a guaranteed completion on the sideline.
Oh man.
So what good are you?
Yeah, you're not. It's a terrible one. I
Yeah,
see.
thanks for nothing.
In high
I'd
school,
rather play Predator, which is
right,
almost as bad.
right. In high school, my freshman year of high school, we were a 3-4 team. So I was mainly, so I came into that, I wanted to still be quarterback. And they're like, yeah, no, you're 5'11", 240. No, you're playing offense and defensive line. So that killed my quarterback fullback dream. And I played our three technique on defense the entire my varsity career, and I played offensive tackle backup center the entire career. I've played 3-4 my 4 years in high school. The second I graduated, I coached for the same school, 4 more years of 3-4 defense. And then when I transferred to a new school, they were still a 3-4 team. I have never in my life played in or coached a 4-3 defense. Yet in Madden, can't even play 3-4. I will not even bother touching it. Every year I make a playbook. I get like 4 formations into it, and I'm just like, why the fuck am I even doing this? And
Yeah,
then I delete the playbook.
and every year, every year I try it for the first season. You know that.
You're
And
right.
by week two, I want to pull my hair out.
Week 2, you send me the message, can I add 4-3 or can I switch my playbook?
Can I add a 4-6 bear something?
It's just terrible. I
is
can't do it.
awful.
And it comes, I
Awful.
think the main thing, obviously the fact that they just don't have half the coverages that 4-3 has. But until they add the ability for having D linemen force double team animations and 2-gap, 3-4 will never be a thing in Madden that you can actually use. Other than those mutt guys who do what? 3-4 is it 4 drop?
The only reason why it's popular in online is because of the way the block targeting is. It's easy to shoot gaps with blitzes that foul up, the O line. Although that's not a problem this year, but it's easier to spread out guys and fan your line and pinch your backers and all that stuff. And they have really good sub packages out of the first
Right.
four books. That's the one thing they have going for them. But the base stuff is horrible. And I just removed 4-3 under and over from my 4-3 playbook because until there's such a thing as a forced defender, what's the point?
No, and I went through and I cleared out, I think, half of my stuff. Man, I'm trying to change Alvin Kamara's name to Cheesy Bitch, but it won't let me. Darn. Yeah, Alvin Kamara leading our league in receptions 3 weeks in when Michael Thomas has 11 catches. Gotta love it.
That's crazy. I need to watch those games, and I haven't watched any of his games. Only games I've watched have been my own and Emmett's and yours and Smitty's.
Yeah. Have you go into our Discord meme server and just look at all the memes that have been made of Wonka and his Alvin Kamara catches if you want a good laugh? I'm not kidding. I think between Wookie, Bobby, and myself, we've made like 20. They're pretty good. Yeah, this is the least amount of Madden I've actually watched. I watch all of your stuff. I'll watch like Nick's streams and I've watched my own. And I watch Smith's to game plan. But I'm finding out that I'm doing less like studying of an opponent and like watching their stuff this year because why does it matter? I'm just going to score 50 points, 40 points every game.
Everything works.
And they're going to score 30, 40 points against me unless it's Wonka who doesn't know how to attack quarters. He's going to score 12 and throw 5 picks. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean that's what decided our game last week. Was I threw a pick 6 on a warp INT on a table route, which my back was open by a good 4 yards. It somehow got pick 6'd, and then another one where I misread a spot route, and that was the ball game.
And I think I had the biggest input lag against Smith, and that was a house call with Shaq Thomas. And then against Wonka, I force-fed a slant being greedy, trying to go up 38-10 in the late third quarter when I should have just ran it in. And that's been it. That's just me being greedy on slants and input lag. But you look at that, if you count both games, I've had 1 punt and 2 picks or whatever. And those are the only 2. Oh, and then I shanked a field goal. because kicking is absolutely horrible this game. Other than that, I've scored every time I've had the ball. And I expect that to continue, going forward until they fix crap, which I'm hoping.
Yeah, it can't stay like this. It's impossible.
I'm hoping
Well, I
Clint
shouldn't say
pushes
it's
that cover
impossible.
two. It's not,
But
right.
but it's highly unlikely that
We
this
need that
remains.
coverage patch that Clint
Like
alluded
we
to.
needed it like 2 weeks ago.
We need that, and then we need him to just Clint. If you, for whatever reason, I know you're on good notes with Kia, you and him are, friendly. If you watch this stream because of Kia, for the love of God, take CPU pass rush, find that tuning slider, that code, whatever you have, and bump it up 50%. Just please. If you do that, and you do your coverage patch, I promise you, the sim community, they're going to completely shut up. They aren't going to bother you for the rest of the year, minus like defensive user movement occasionally.
Yeah, I would
They're
agree
going to
with that.
shut their mouth. You won't hear me bash gameplay at all if you can do that. You're still going to have to deal with a certain YouTuber complaining about concession stand prices and Tony Bruno in that whole crowd. But other than that, it's all you got to do. If you can do that, this game is going to be damn near a pretty good game, which I don't know if I'd ever have said the last 4 Maddens. Because you and I don't. How many games did we play in the beta? I think we played 4.
Yeah.
And I think the entire time we sat there, and the thing we said was, "Yeah, pass rush doesn't exist. Maybe that's because
No,
we don't have a pass rusher."
Neither one of us has punted the ball in 4 games.
But other than that, we're saying that the game's
we're
fun.
averaging 1 incompletion a game.
I think I was the Bucks, and you used the Chiefs, the Ravens, and then you used the Falcons, and then I think you used the Falcons again. And I think between the two of us, there were like 3 picks, 10 incompletions in 4 games. So, and this game, I'm enjoying it more than 20 by far. I'll take this over last year.
I enjoy oral surgery more than Madden 20. So I mean that's but yeah, it's much better than Madden 20, which is an amazing statement considering what we've been talking about for the past hour.
Right. The last hour and 15 minutes, and then the 10 minutes you were in the party before. Absolutely. And I just will wrap it up in a few minutes because I got to take my dog
Madden
to get
20
some
might have
damn
been the
shot.
least fun Madden in 20
Oh,
years.
you've been in the league. I've been in 4th and 1 5 seasons. This is my 4th year actually running it. You've been in 4th and 1, and then for the longest it's ever been going, I'm sure. And then you were in HPL, which that's how I started in. And since I've known you, and since I've been a part of leagues, our leagues have gone early September until mid to late June or July. And then we're done. That last season is just, hey, we update the rosters, we play as the teams next year and mess around.
In February.
we got done 3 seasons. We were at the start of the 4th year. We had 5 CPU or 6 CPU teams. No, it was 4. We had 4 CPU teams, 2 in 1 division. And I think week 2, I sent a message to everyone. I said, guys, screw this. I'm done. I can't play this Madden anymore. If you want to quit, I'm fine with it. And then I think 3 weeks later, the league died. So we made it, 16 times 3, so that's 48. We made it like 50, 51 games when we normally make it like 80 to 100.
Yeah, we're usually deep into the summer.
I think, and you've said, you said COVID and quarantine kind of re-kicked your interest of kind of having to play Madden and doing weekend leagues and crap. Me, I did nothing. I tried to play Madden and load it up so many times. I'd get 5 minutes into Madden, and I'd just shut it off. I'd be like, no, I'm going to 2K, I'm going to Skyrim, I'm going Grand Theft Auto. I'm doing something other than Madden, to the point where I didn't even play video games for like a month. I was the most bored I've ever been, and I thank Madden for that.
Jeez.
It was terrible.
To give Mr. Smith a little bit more information as far as if he wanted to dabble in formulating a base nickel defense.
Mm-hmm.
Some formations you may want to look at that are useful. That gives you a full coverage toolkit here. I'm kind of scrolling through them now. 3-3-5 Sam, 3-3-5 Will, 3-3-5 wide, big nickel over G. Nickel normal is a good starting point. And I might start basing out of sub packages now myself
Oh yeah, yeah, pretty much.
for the rest of this season with the Cardinals because I am not dealing with Chandler Jones standing up anymore. I'm
Right.
done with that. I
Nope.
refuse. I don't care if there's 3 tight ends on the field. I'm not doing it.
Well, that's a great note to end on. And now, if you're watching this, just skip to the end and you'll see what Kia's doing. Chandler Jones is going to be rushing and getting no pressure for him for the rest of the year.
Right, exactly. But at least he'll be doing it with his hand in the dirt instead of in
Yep.
coverage.
He's going to at least attempt to rush.